Alright, so this is going to be our final update on the Mini DPF, I think. Essentially, after that one day of absolute hell, by rerouting the cable from the thermocouple, it hasn't happened again, and we're back to very happy running, getting about 6.8, 6.9 litres per 100 kilometres, and everything's just going nicely. So I think the electrical issue of the cable being in the 90-degree angle, bit of heat stress, all that sort of stuff, may have been the problem. I do have the other sensor in the car, but I haven't needed to change it over. So realistically speaking, at this stage, I'm going to call that fix done. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. So there you go, chaps. It's still fucked. Right, so we still have some issues. Diagnostic errors. Not yet. Freeze frame. Really, to me, starts to look a lot like wiring fault, particularly on this screen here. We've lost the blue trace, which is accelerator D. We still retain accelerator E. As soon as I lost accelerator D, the rough running came in. So I'm going to limp to home and see how we go. So we've still got an engine fault. Let's see what else we can see. So here we definitely see there's a problem with the accelerator position D. Should be tracking with E. So look, I think that's where I'm going to start, is tracing the wiring back from the accelerator pedal. This line here should be tracking this line here. It's not. Fun times. G'day YouTube, JB from Oz here. So back to first principles. A mate of mine suggested I should start with the battery, make sure the battery's working, start with the engine earth, make sure the engine earth isn't contributing to the problem. So what I've got is my chloride battery tester. At the moment it's showing 11 volts on the gauge, which when I verify that voltage elsewhere is 12.2 volts. So I've tried to bring the needle up a little bit, but at the moment it's not reading 12 volts, it's reading 11 volts. So I'm going to assume that this is a volt under correct reading. So the way this works, I've detached the car from the circuit totally, so there's no chance of any spikes back through the electrical system. Button on top puts a load on the battery. You'll see the needle drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's a resistive load that's been placed across those terminals. Now the battery dropped down to the low end and possibly into the yellow, but if we move it around 1 centimetre, it's stayed totally within the green, which suggests a good battery with a good state of charge. Even dropping down into the yellow and back up indicates a good battery in need of charge. But knowing that the voltage showing on the meter and the voltage showing here is out, I'm confident the battery's good. So that's a 20-second load charge. Essentially there's just inside the back of this thing a big resistor which simulates the load of your starter or some other sort of heavy load on the battery. So, battery test, check. Now I'm looking at any other possible earth issues, leads that we maybe forgot to reconnect after the work. So I'm just going to detach the positive side of the fused rail. That also pulls the CPU out of the car. I'm going to also pull the battery in case there is an issue there. Obviously the battery was fitted around the time that the manual DPF regen was performed by somebody else. So first principles, check everything. That looks really messy. If I'd have done that, I would have cleaned the bolt and lubricated it before putting it back in. So, red flag number 1. Red flag number 2. No attempt to clean up before putting a new battery in. So that's a worry. Where's all that corrosion come from? It's a battery vent tube, I'm guessing. We do have a battery vent tube here and here. So I'm going to say that that's a battery isolation switch of some form. We've got power coming from the battery to it, and then we've got a yellow and a blue white. The way it was sitting, it didn't look very nicely routed, so I'm imagining it's probably been put in incorrectly. We've got 2 other feeds out this side, a battery clip there and a battery clip there, one of which goes through and under power. Oh, not sure quite what that is. Alright, a bit of a clean up.
to be around grabbing.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that. Hi boys. How's it looking?
Back to first principles.
Follow it through?
Yeah.
Hi babies.
Inox, Lennox. Alright, so we've got an M6x1 die. Alrighty. So we'll now run tapping the die through that hole. Should now do the job expected of it. I've cleaned around the battery box, re-tap that thread. I'm going to put a bit of something on top of here, a bit of insertion rubber, because it looks like that and this may have actually rubbed through the previous battery. So yeah, not a good look. So we'll just grab some insertion rubber. It's only minute thickness, but it just gives one extra layer between the battery and that. So cut it, just placing the battery on the rubber to get a size, and then I'll just cut it with a knife. Yes. That's now sitting inside underneath the battery, giving it a bit of extra support. Right, battery's now firmly in place. Whenever you're dealing with small spanners, small nuts rather, whenever you're dealing with small nuts, keep your lever in tight, because you can really quickly over torque these. Right, so what do we say? Do we say, see if that's made a difference? If I pull the air cleaner out further, it's not really going to gain me anything except for potentially the turbo boost sensor or the EGR system. Imagine this is the boost control, so this is likely to be the boost sensor. Right, so there's 5 leads there. Alright, now we continue the mission. So without any throttle input at all, no engine problem. Oh, come on, you were working the other day. Right, interestingly enough, the issue with the throttle is to be investigated. So, I started to dismantle the throttle pedal, which largely is a big piece of plastic, covered by another bit of plastic, a couple of springs, an actuating lever, another actuating lever with bump stops, and this little circuit board. Now, I saw the slightest bit of dirt inside here, and looking at this, it's almost like it's a capacitance circuit, because there's really no actual connection between this and this. So where that scratching was, I'm going to suspect that that might have been part of the throttle problem. How am I going to test this? Well, I'm going to plug this back in and just manually operate the throttle here and see what happens. I'll put you in somewhere you can see it and we'll see what you can see. So there was a fault in the throttle switch. It's a little bit tricky to get off this little bugger. Alright. So, the problem went away. At least one of the problems. Now I've got a whole pile of other problems showing up on the dash. Hooray. But my mission for now is to put this back together. Okay, putting springs like that, squeeze. Okay, so now we have the spring back in the pedal. Alright, that goes back into our top plastic. Okay, so that's snapped in. Now the last piece remaining is to reassemble this piece. Now I've obviously, let's get a really good look at these clips for anybody following after. Okay, so I've obviously taken a bit of a hammer to it to get it open. There's two latches at that end. There's a couple of latches at this end. There's a spring clip release just in there. inside. Those two are clips from the outside. So if they were lifted from the seam edge, they should clip up. This one again lifted up from the seam edge. This one lifted out from the seam edge. This one I've broken off is probably the same. So it's probably a case of every single one of these just needed to be lifted from the outside and then lifted up. Okay, I'm just going to use hands separate. With the throttle back in, the ABS and four-wheel drive alert has gone away. No, let's go back. My throttle controller's back. Let's see if I can connect.